All righty. Hello, everybody. Starting to start letting everybody start trickling in. Excited to see everyone start to come in. As you guys are coming in, if you can drop in the chat where you guys are coming from today. I just love to see the range of where everybody is coming from. Awesome. So excited. Yes, Beth, I'm excited as well. Hi, Richard. Hi, Beth. We got Michigan. Where else is everybody from so far? Miami, Texas. Oh, Texas. That's where I'm at. So I am a Texan. Love it, love it. California. Houston. Awesome. Wow, all over. San Diego. Looks like for some reason we got a bunch of people named Richard, but I don't think you guys are all Richard. Something must have happened here, but there are multiple of us in here from different places. Virginia, love to see it. Awesome. Okay. We're going to allow a little more time for everyone to come in. Canada, Seattle. Got some people from up north. Awesome. Looking forward to diving into all of this with you guys. You guys are from all over, so that's really exciting to see. Okay. We're going to give a little bit more time. I'm going to go ahead and get our presentation started here. And you guys can keep dropping in as you guys are coming in, where you guys are all from. Yeah, I was like, Deanne, I was like, everybody's name is definitely not Richard. Something has happened with the tech. I promise that not everybody is Richard in here, and there's not like just a bot going in and being all Richard. Rayanne, thank you. Thanks for telling me you guys' name. It's Judy. Yeah, everybody says Richard. We're gonna fix that for the next time around. No worries. It is our first time really ever doing this in Webinar Jam, so thank you for just bearing with us. We'll figure it all out. Yeah. Are you on here? Yes, it looks like you're on here. Can you guys all hear me and see me okay? Chelsea from Houston. Chelsea, you are showing up as Chelsea, not like as Richard, like everybody else. So that's awesome. So I may refer to everybody as Richard. Okay. Beth. Okay, awesome. Yes. So you guys can all hear and see me. Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. All right. I'm going to give one more minute to allow everybody to get in here. And remember, as you guys are filtering in, to just let me know where you're from if you haven't already. Just looking at seeing how many parts of the world we can continue to touch on here. Not Richard, you're Anna. Got it. Hello from Florida. What part of Florida? I'm from Florida originally as well. Love Florida. Awesome. We're going to get started, y'all, in about 60 more seconds. Georgia. Awesome. Yeah, this Richard thing is really funny. Illinois. Awesome. Okay, we're like touching West Coast, Midwest, South, Texas, Florida, up north. Love it. Canada, other countries. So that's amazing. Live from VA, Virginia. Awesome. Yeah, we got a couple of people from Virginia now. So many Richards here. I know. April from Pennsylvania. Welcome, everybody. All right, great. Okay, awesome. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So people may continue to filter in. SoCal, love it. You guys have amazing weather. But we're going to go ahead and dive into all of the things. I'm so excited to, really get into all of this with you guys today. It's going to be lots of fun. We're going to learn a lot. We're going to gain a lot as well. So welcome to the Gut Revival Masterclass. So excited to have you guys here. If you don't know who I am already, I am Dr. Stephanie Dunlop. So I am a board-certified emergency medicine physician and functional health specialist. My passion is really helping women really uncover the hidden links between your gut, your hormones, and those kind of persistent symptoms that leave you feeling just not quite like yourself. And today we're really going to dive deep into understanding why you might still feel like you're struggling, even when you feel like you're doing everything quote unquote right. And we'll really uncover the hidden connections and give you a clear path forward. So get ready to really take some notes, but more importantly, let's get ready to gain a lot of clarity and a lot of empowerment too about your health, because that's what this is all about, And so we'll move on to the next slide here. Still getting used to all the tech, guys. It's a lot. Why does my name say Richard? Yeah, if you guys haven't caught it yet, there's a tech situation and everybody is Richard. But we know that you guys are not all actually Richard and you're not a Richard bot. So it's fine. If you want to drop what your real name is, we'll take it because I'd love to know what your real names are. So moving on, this masterclass is really all about providing you with a sustainable path to help you really rebalance your hormones, heal your gut, and really achieve health, as well as sustainable fat loss. So notice I said sustainably. So we're not going to talk about quick fixes or extreme measures around here. We're really exploring how to do this without the frustration of things like starvation diets, endless cardio, or that consistent guesswork that really often leaves a lot of people feeling defeated. So my promise is to you that within the 60 minutes, you'll really leave this masterclass with a simple, actionable next step that's really tailored to you. So not just a generic plan, but something that you can really, truly implement. So who is this for? Let's be clear about who this masterclass is really designed for. If you resonate with these points, then you are absolutely in the right place. We are primarily working with high achieving women, especially moms around the ages of 30 to 50. Men, don't feel left out. All the Richards in the room. I'm just kidding. But we do work with men occasionally as well. But we're working with those women who are just juggling so much, doing all of the right things, eating healthy, exercising, managing their stress, yet they just still feel stuck. And so you end up feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, and just feel like your body's working against you. So you've likely been to doctors, you've had your labs done, you've been told everything is normal, and even though your symptoms are still persisting. So something is just not right, and you're just tired of being dismissed at this point. So you're not looking for another one-size-fits-all protocol. You're really craving that personalization and a plan that really understands your unique body and lifestyle. And most importantly, you're really ready to take action and you're open to receiving that expert support to finally get the answers and the solutions that honestly you deserve. And then I think it's also important to talk about who this is not for. So this really helps us make sure that we're on the same page and that we get the most value from our time together. Because one of the things that's most important to me is alignment. And so if you're looking for a quick fix or a magic pill solution, this is not it. So sustainable health really just takes commitment and understanding. So if you prefer things like generic plans over personalized guidance, or if you're not ready to make small, consistent changes, then this masterclass is just probably not the best fit for you right now. And that's totally okay. And finally, if you're just not comfortable with an invitation to work together at the end of this free content, I do want to be transparent up front. My goal is to provide you guys with immense value today. But for those who want to go deeper, I will share how you can get more support. So stay to the end for the live giveaway. This is going to be the fun part. So just to make sure you guys stay engaged and you get the absolute most out of our time together, we do have an exciting opportunity for those who stay until the very end. So one lucky attendee is going to receive 16 weeks of one-on-one coaching in our personalized functional fat loss RX program. This is our signature program that's really designed to rebalance your hormones, heal your gut, and help you achieve sustainable fat loss. And, I will be your head coach. I'll be personally providing your program, your protocol, your lab interpretation, and a lot of your guidance along the way. And so to qualify for this incredible giveaway, All you need to do is just stay till the end of the masterclass because we're going to announce live the winner. So it's going to be lots of fun. And for everyone else, just for staying to the end, you're going to receive access to some awesome exclusive bonuses. So that's my hormone clarity checklist, my bloat busting recipe book, and my gut healing grocery guide. And so these are really just designed to give you some immediate actionable steps that you guys can start to work off of. But remember, there is a deadline to get all these bonuses. You got to stay till the end. And then to qualify for the live giveaway, and actually I'm going to be giving away even some more stuff at the end. I just haven't gone to it yet. You do have to make sure that you're doing the things that we're asking you to do. And the cutoff for that is going to be 3:30 p.m. So we're giving you a little time after the webinar is over, but just want to make sure that that's clear. And then how to get the most from today. So to ensure you get the most out of the masterclass, just a few quick tips. So use the chat. I'll be asking some quick questions throughout, and I'd love to hear your answers. Your engagement for this just really makes it more valuable for everyone. You never know if you might say something or ask a question in the chat that everyone else can benefit from as well. Notes are totally fine. Don't feel like you need to write down every single word. I will give you the key steps and the takeaways at the end, and you do have your workbook to guide you. So if you don't have your workbook yet, make sure that you've grabbed that. There was a link when you're in the waiting room to grab that before you came in. My team can also drop the link to the interactive workbook for you guys in the chat as well if you need it. And then let's hold the questions for the Q&A. So we'll have a dedicated Q&A session at the end. Everything will continue to stay visible so that you guys can access it, but we just want to make sure that we dedicate our time at the end. And if you must step away, just make sure you keep this tab open because you don't want to miss the live giveaway. You do have to be present to win that. And most importantly, just enjoy the next hour. This is truly for you, and this is your time to really gain clarity and feel empowered about your health, okay? So what we're going to start off with diving into is some really eye-opening statistics that really underscore why this masterclass is so crucial and why I felt like it was important to bring this topic to you guys. So some really amazing statistics are, did you know that up to 80% of women experience hormonal imbalances? And here's the kicker, really. Gut dysbiosis, which is an imbalance in your gut bacteria, plays a very significant but really often overlooked role in these imbalances. So it isn't just about feeling quote unquote off, it's a very widespread issue. And women are actually 2 to 3 times more likely than men to suffer from IBS. So this is not just bad luck, it's often due to our unique hormonal fluctuations as women and our increased gut sensitivity. And so your body is constantly communicating, we just have to listen to it. And then 26% of women have actually reported bloating at least a few times weekly compared to just 11% of men. So bloating is not just uncomfortable. It's actually a clear signal from your gut that something really needs attention. And we need to really be listening to those warning signs. And finally, polycystic ovarian syndrome affects actually 1 in 10 women of reproductive age. So that is a very common number. And what's often missed is that PCOS is frequently undiagnosed, but deeply rooted in some very complex gut hormone interactions. So these are not isolated issues, they're very interconnected. And just know that these statistics are not meant to scare you, but they're meant to really just validate your experience. If you've been feeling these symptoms, you're definitely not alone, as you can see, and it's not all in your head. Your body is sending you important signals. We just need to listen to them at this point. Okay, and a little bit about me. So for those of you who are new to my work, I want to briefly introduce myself and my mission. So I am a board certified physician. I am an emergency medicine physician by trade, my board certification, but I'm also a functional health specialist. My journey into functional medicine was really driven by a deep desire to find root causes and not just continue to manage symptoms like I was doing in the ER, working on my shifts all the time. Over the years, I've had the privilege of directly helping over 250 women at this point really transform their health. And so this isn't just about numbers to me, it's really about real lives change. And through my approach, we've been able to address a really crazy number, over 122 different conditions at their root, and help women really reclaim their vitality and feel like themselves again. I've also built the Functional Fat Loss RX system, it was specifically designed to really just help turn confusion into clarity and provide a clear, personalized roadmap for things like lasting health and sustainable fat loss. So my goal is really to empower you with the knowledge and the tools that you need to understand your body at this point and take control of your health journey. I think that's the most important part of all of this, is feeling like you can get back in control of your health, your life, and all of those things again, and not feeling like your body has control over you. All right. Moving on, I'll tell you a little bit about my story and how we got here. So my journey into functional health, it was not just academic. It was really deeply personal. For most of my life, I was honestly in a tug of war with my body, as you can see from the photo on the screen. And as a professional dancer, which if you know anything about that world, it is very much rooted with a lot of body image issues. So I was always in this back and forth. And then I became an ER physician, a group fitness coach. And at that point, I felt like I had mastered a lot of those things: discipline, resilience, or so I thought. I got in the best shape of my life for my wedding and then stayed active throughout my pregnancy. That happened shortly thereafter. And I even opened my own fitness and wellness center, which is still open to this day. And I really thought I had like cracked the code, right? But postpartum really humbled me. Despite doing everything quote unquote right, like I had done before, clean eating, calorie deficits, intermittent fasting, intense workouts, like my body was just not responding. I felt exhausted, inflamed, and just like mentally foggy all the time, mom brain. And I'll never forget the day that I stepped on a hotel scale, like during a work trip, and I realized that I weighed more than the day I gave birth to my son. I was like, what the heck just happened? My scrubs didn't fit. I couldn't keep up with my son anymore. And like the worst part of it all was like, I didn't recognize that woman that was staring back at me in the mirror anymore. And so, going to the system that I was trained in, doctors told me I was fine. Other moms said it was just mom life. And something inside of me though, just kept whispering, well, more than a whisper, it was more of a yell. This is not normal. There has to be more. And so this personal struggle really fueled my quest for deeper answers beyond what conventional medicine was really offering. And it led me down this path of discovery that really transformed my own health and became the foundation of my practice today. And so what I did was listen to that voice. I dove into functional medicine, hormone health, and the real root causes behind things like my fatigue, my weight gain, my burnout. I hired my own coach. I truly believe the best coaches have coaches. And I stopped trying to quote unquote fix myself with these short-term strategies. And I finally addressed the whole picture. That's hormones, gut health, stress, and really most importantly, my mindset. And within 16 weeks, I was able to lose 30 pounds. Insane. But more importantly, I found clarity. I began sleeping through the night again. My gut healed. My energy came back. I could run around with my son again. I could really lead my business with focus and eat intuitively, including dessert, which is one of my favorite things, without guilt or bloating, which is important. And the biggest shift, I stopped abandoning myself, right? So I created non-negotiables around things like my self-care, my mindset, and my weekly prep. I really became the woman that I used to dream about, I feel like, strong, grounded, present. And now I'm really just on a mission to help other women skip that cycle of continuing to suffer in silence. I want you to know that real healing is possible, not by just working harder, but by getting smarter about what your body actually needs. So this is not about willpower, it's about wisdom. You don't need another diet, you need a map. Right? So one that honors your hormones, your nervous system, and your identity, because when you heal from the inside out, your transformation it becomes truly inevitable. So now that we finished talking about me, let's talk about you guys and what you came here for. First off, I want to know from everybody, have you guys taken your pre-quiz yet? I am going to drop a poll in the chat here. If you guys can let me know, have you guys been able to take your pre-quiz yet? And if not, it's totally fine. Just let me know. There we go. All right, let's see. This just kind of helps give me an idea of where you guys are all at and where we're starting from. So no big deal either way. And I am just checking out the chat while you guys are doing that. I'll give you guys a couple more seconds and then we'll see where we're at. So it looks like the majority of us haven't had a chance quite yet, which is totally good. That just tells me where we're at. Okay, awesome. I'm going to go ahead and end that poll. All right, perfect. So what we're going to do then is we are actually going to go through the pre-quiz because I want everyone then to know exactly where we stand, and we're going to answer a lot of these questions as we go through. So you can also make sure that you access your workbook. This is a good time to make sure that you're grabbing that, and then we'll go through a few of these pre-quiz questions together. And I'm going to launch a poll for each so that way we can see where everybody's answers kind of fell. So the first question that I'm going to drop off here is, let me grab it for y'all. Start poll. All right. So when you experience persistent symptoms like unexplained weight gain, chronic fatigue, or mood swings, which of these is often the overlooked root cause that traditional medicine might miss? So we've got A, lack of willpower or discipline, B, a hidden imbalance in your gut microbiome affecting your hormone metabolism, C, normal aging processes, or D, stress. Let's see what you guys are all thinking. The answer to this question we will go into when we dive into the gut hormone connection section. So I'm really excited to get y'all the answer to this one. This one can be a little tricky. Let's see what everybody's thinking. All right, gonna give you 5 more seconds. Get your answers in, get your answers in. Oh, I see people still dropping in. It looks like we've got a pretty good, mostly everyone is thinking B or D. All right, so we'll dive into the answers to that in just a second. So everyone can kind of see where we're sitting at here. And then we're going to dive into the next question. So question 2 is about the gut-brain hormone connection. So we'll start that one for you guys. So your gut and brain are constantly communicating, but how does this connection specifically impact your hormonal health? So A, it doesn't directly affect your hormones. It's more about digestion. B, gut bacteria produce neurotransmitters that directly regulate hormone production and breakdown. Hormones primarily influence gut motility, not the other way around. Or D, the connection is only relevant for stress hormones like cortisol. Let's get you guys' thoughts on that one. This is a great question. I'd love to hear where you guys are sitting at. So remember, the goal here isn't to know all the answers right now, but just to kind of open your mind to what's possible when we do understand all of these connections. All right. I'm seeing B and D are continuing to become popular answers. All right. I'm going to give you guys 5 more seconds. And then we're going to end this one. All right. Okay. We're going to go ahead and let that one go. So up next, we're going to then talk about decoding your dysfunction. So this is the next question on our pre-quiz. So when we talk about intestinal permeability, you've probably heard about it talked about a lot as like leaky gut. What is the key difference between paracellular and transcellular permeability, and why does it matter for your healing strategy? So A, they are just different names for the same condition. B, paracellular involves gaps between the cells, while transcellular involves substances passing through damaged cells, which require a different healing approach. C, one is a temporary issue, the other is permanent. Or D, only paracellular permeability is relevant to hormone health. So let's see what you guys are thinking here. This one, honestly, is a bit more technical, but it's so important for understanding true healing. So I'd love to hear what you guys' best guess are. All right. It looks like we're getting a pretty overwhelming response for one answer. I'm not going to tell y'all what it is yet. Going to give you guys 5 more seconds to get in those answers. Oh, this one's getting a little more skewed across the board. Okay, awesome. We're going to end that one. Perfect. Okay, we got 2 more questions here. So the next question, we're going to talk about the hierarchy of healing. So let me grab that one for you guys. We'll start that poll. So many people jump straight to things like supplements or restrictive diets for gut issues. However, what is the most often missed foundational step in true functional healing that really addresses the order in which your body heals? So A, taking the most expensive probiotics you can find. B, following a strict elimination diet for an extended period. C, understanding and addressing the hierarchy of healing, starting with foundational physiological processes. And D, relying solely on symptom suppression with medication. What are your thoughts? Go ahead and cast your votes on that one. This question is really crucial, I feel like, for anyone who's felt like they've tried everything or who has felt like they've tried everything. So what do you guys think is the missing piece here? Looks like this one is pretty clear across the board for everybody. You guys know this one. Awesome. We're going to go ahead and end that one. All right, final question. So our final question, we're going to talk about the gut microbiome. So let me get that one out there for y'all, and let's see what your thoughts are on this one. So beyond just having quote unquote good bacteria, you've got 5 critical areas of microbiome health, right? Density, diversity, function, ecology, and dynamics that are essential for long-term gut resilience. But how do they all differ? So they're all synonyms for the same thing. You just need to have more good bacteria. B, they represent different aspects of a healthy gut ecosystem, from the sheer number of bacteria to their variety, activity, and interaction. Or C, only diversity matters. The rest are minor details. D, these terms are only relevant for severe gut diseases, not everyday health. What are your thoughts? Final question. And this one, I think, really just highlights the depth of understanding we need for true gut health. There's so many different aspects of it, but just kind of give us your best answer here. Okay, awesome. I think this one is becoming pretty clear. Got a pretty clear winner. 5 more seconds. Okay, we're going to go ahead and end that one. All right, perfect. Okay, you guys did awesome. So we're going to dive into getting you guys all of the answers for this. Thanks for participating in the quiz. As you can see, these are not all simple questions, and that's okay. The purpose of this masterclass is really just to provide you guys with the answers and the clarity you need to navigate these complex topics. So we'll reveal the answers as we go through, so stay tuned. And the pre-quiz and the workbook are fantastic tools to just help you engage a little more deeply and make sure you get the most value from our time together. So I did want to touch on this one more time because I think it's such a critical point that it bears repeating. So this is not about willpower, it's about physiology. So the persistent symptoms that we're experiencing, energy crashes, stubborn weight gain, disrupted sleep, unpredictable mood shifts, they persist a lot of times because our gut hormone signals are just out of sync. So when those vital communication pathways are disrupted, your body is going to struggle. It's not that you're not trying hard enough, it's that your internal systems are basically misfiring. The incredible news, though, is that when we learn to align these signals and when we understand and support our body's natural physiology, the change becomes really predictable and sustainable. So you can, I like to call it, stop fighting and just start flowing through life, which is a really nice place to be in. Okay. And so what we're going to dive into are the 7 steps to gut revival now. So we're going to go to the heart of today's masterclass. This is a framework I've really developed and refined, and it's what has helped so many women really finally reclaim their health. So we're going to walk through each of these steps in detail, provide you with some actionable insights and a clear understanding of how these things all fit together. So those steps are going to be: stop blaming yourself, know the gut hormone connection, identify your primary dysfunction, the top 5 healing priorities you must address, why most approaches fail, restoring your microbiome diversity, and then how to get support. So are you guys ready to dive in? If you're ready to dive in, drop a 1 in the chat. I want to make sure we're all still here. We're all still paying attention. So drop a 1 in the chat if you want to continue forward and make sure that we get all of the answers and hit this 7-step process. I see a couple 1s. Where are you guys at? There we go. Want to make sure we're all here, all paying attention, because we're going to drop a lot of knowledge bombs here in just a second. There we go. They're all coming in. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, amazing. So up next, what we're going to dive into is step 1. So step 1 is stop blaming yourself, right? So this is foundational because for far too long, women have really been told their symptoms are normal or that it's all in your head. And so this statistic, when I first found it, was a little bit shocking for me. But when I look at it from the other side of the coin, you know, being on both sides, it makes a lot of sense. 80% of women report feeling unheard or not believed by medical professionals. So if you've experienced this, you are not alone. The statistic literally just validates your struggle. But here's something that a lot of women and people just in general don't know. So women are 50% more likely than men to be misdiagnosed after a heart attack. And it takes an average of 7.5 years for a woman to receive an accurate autoimmune diagnosis, compared to only 4.5 years that it takes for men to get that same diagnosis. So this isn't necessarily about individual doctors being dismissive. It's a systemic gap in understanding women's unique physiology. So just know and understand that your symptoms are not normal. They are not just in your head. They are your biology speaking to you. Your body is sending you signals, and it's time we learn to listen to them. The system of medicine, honestly, and what we've learned has just been built on a lot of studies that are built on men's physiology and men's clinical studies and not women. And so there's a lot of gaps in what has been done and what has actually been learned up until this point that's actually in textbooks. So it's important to know and understand that. And a powerful reframe that we can use here is that your symptoms are not your enemy. They're your body's way of really just asking for help. So when you have bloating, it's not your body betraying you. It's your gut saying, I need support. And when you have brain fog, let's say, it's not weakness. It's your brain actually saying, I need better fuel and less inflammation. Okay. So the traditional medical system, it's excellent for acute care, but it's just not always built to understand the nuances of women's unique physiology, especially when it comes to these very chronic interconnected issues of gut and hormonal imbalances. So this is why a functional approach, I feel, is really so crucial, because it's going to look beyond the surface to really understand those interconnected systems at play and validate your experience so we can seek those root causes. So first step, release the self-blame. Your body is speaking. Let's learn its language. So that brings us to the first question in the pre-quiz. It does reveal our answer there. The answer is B. A hidden imbalance in your gut microbiome affecting your hormone metabolism can then start to cause a lot of these issues. So it's not just about willpower or just relaxing more. It's this intricate balance in your body that we're looking to really dive deeper into. So that brings us to step number 2, the gut hormone connection. Okay. So this is where so many pieces of the puzzle start to fit together. So your gut is not just about digestion. It's a central hub for your hormonal regulation. So your gut imbalances will directly fuel a lot of hormonal chaos. So we're talking crucial hormones like cortisol, your stress hormone, which gets a bad rap all the time on social media, but we actually need it. We do need cortisol. We just don't need too much of it, okay? Your thyroid hormones, they regulate your metabolism, your insulin, which regulates your blood sugar, your estrogen, which obviously is important for reproductive health, and so much more. Your gut is tied into all of those things. So here's something really fascinating, and it's gonna help answer one of our pre-quiz questions, but your gut actually produces more serotonin than your brain. About 90% of it, actually. It's a crazy high number. So that's your happy hormone. And so it doesn't just affect your mood. It regulates things like your gut motility, your appetite, and it even influences things like your sleep-wake cycle. So when your gut is inflamed, serotonin production is going to get disrupted. So this is why gut issues often come with mood changes, if that makes sense. So a lot of people don't think it's their gut because they don't have gut symptoms, but you can just have mood symptoms and it could all be related to your gut. So something to really think about. And let me give you a specific example of something called the estrobolome. So the estrobolome is a collection of gut bacteria, and they actually produce an enzyme called beta-glucuronidase. Very fancy, long name, whatever. This enzyme, when it's overactive, it does something called deconjugating your estrogen. So when we conjugate your estrogen, just to explain what that means, it's basically like your body tagging estrogen to say that it's time to eliminate it from the body. It's been used up and it needs to go. It needs to go to the trash, basically. So when you deconjugate it and remove that marker that tells the body to get rid of it, then it just recirculates. It gets reabsorbed, and this leads to estrogen dominance. So then you end up with symptoms like heavy periods, fibroids, breast tenderness, and for some people, it is even an increased cancer risk as well. So that's why these things are so important. And another connection that a lot of people miss are going to be things like your thyroid. So your gut bacteria actually help convert inactive thyroid hormone, which is T4, to your active thyroid hormone, which is T3. So about 20% of that inactive to active thyroid hormone conversion actually occurs in your gut. And so if you have dysbiosis or inflammation, this conversion gets impaired, and then that's going to lead to things like hypothyroid symptoms, even when your TSH looks normal. So this is a big reason why I hate when people just test TSH. I also hate it when people test TSH with reflex to T4, which you've probably all seen on your labs at some point. TSH with reflex to T4, like, it's not telling me much. I don't know even if you have an abundance of inactive thyroid hormone, I don't know how much active thyroid hormone you actually have that's acting on your body appropriately. So that's why it's important to get a full thyroid panel to see the full picture. And one more connection that I'll just kind of throw out there is the cortisol connection, because everybody talks about cortisol, right? So chronic gut inflammation will trigger what's called your HPA axis. So that's your hypothalamus in your brain, which connects to your pituitary gland, which is also in your brain, and then your adrenal glands, which produce cortisol. So when that axis is triggered, it makes your body produce more cortisol. It keeps your body in a state of chronic stress. So when you have cortisol that's in damaging your gut lining, then those things are coming across throughout your body, causing more inflammation, again, triggering the HPA axis, and it becomes this vicious cycle. You just keep pumping out cortisol, and it keeps, basically recirculating back on itself. So I like to think of your gut as the conductor of your hormonal orchestra. So if your conductor is off, the whole symphony is basically going to be out of tune. Okay. So that hopefully answers our second pre-quiz question that we talked about, which is the gut bacteria produce neurotransmitters that directly regulate your hormones and the breakdown of those hormones. So if you guessed that answer, which was answer B, you are correct. And it really just underscores why understanding the gut hormone axis is so crucial. It's not just about digestion. It's this intricate communication network, right? So we want to make sure that this is in balance so that our body can really thrive. And I really love sharing Ashley's story when it comes to this because it really just perfectly illustrates what we just talked about with the gut hormone connection. So Ashley came to me after struggling for years with her weight and just really trying every diet you can think of. She had even turned to GLP-1s and it helped her lose a good bit of weight, but at a cost she wasn't really prepared for. So her relationship with food became completely dysfunctional. She wasn't hungry most days, so she'd eat maybe one small meal a day and that was it. She was feeling weak, she was feeling tired, she was frustrated. But really what scared Ashley the most was how much muscle she was losing. So she had no energy, her clothes still didn't fit the way she wanted, she couldn't tone up, she couldn't build muscle, she was losing muscle. And she had no energy because she couldn't get fuel into her body. And so, it wasn't just about the physical, it was about the mental too. But the beautiful part was once we did address her gut hormone connection and helped her really understand what her body actually needed, everything really shifted for her. So she had her energy back by week 3. She had 4 inches off her waist by week 4. So within just 4 weeks, she went from barely eating to consistently fueling herself with 3 high protein meals a day. And that was even with a packed schedule. She was a mom. She was running her own business. She was working full-time in corporate as well. And she actually felt like this was very doable, maybe even enjoyable. And the changes there, honestly, they're just not only physical, they're mental, right? And so for the first time in years, she really just felt like she was finally thriving and not just surviving. So this is really the power of understanding the gut hormone connection. So next we'll move on to step 3. And so this is where really what we need to do is identify your primary dysfunction. So this is where we move beyond just treating the symptoms and get to the heart of what's truly going on. So a lot of women are stuck in this cycle of just guessing, trying one diet, try one supplement, try a different exercise routine. And we just kind of go through this cycle back and forth, hoping that something at some point will stick. But if we don't know the root cause, it's really like throwing darts in the dark in a sense. And so through my symptom decoder framework, basically we utilize this to show you how to systematically pinpoint which underlying root cause is most likely driving your specific symptoms. So this means that we can stop guessing and we can start healing, and we can do a targeted healing, which involves understanding concepts like leaky gut, intestinal permeability, gut dysbiosis, and specific nutrient deficiencies that contribute to the systemic dysfunction. So we're going to look at the patterns, the connections, and your unique health history to understand why your body is expressing these symptoms. And this is really the key to unlocking that lasting relief and that true vitality. And so talking about essentially our signature methodology is what this illustrates. So what we're going to start with is really mapping your symptoms and determining your primary dysfunction. So we're going to start by deeply listening to your symptoms and your health history. Your symptoms are clues, and we are going to map them to identify the most likely underlying dysfunctions. And this is where our symptom decoder framework tool comes in. It's a tool that we even use for our one-on-one clients, and it's something that we make available to our Clarity Circle members, by the way, as well. And that is our brand new functional health membership, which, by the way, is open right now for early bird pricing for a very limited time, if anyone's interested. But the second step that's going to pull us to is testing, not guessing, right? So we want to confirm the root cause issue. This is crucial. So we need to use targeted functional lab testing. We actually do over 100 plus labs on every single woman that we work with because we want to know A to Z what's going on in your body. And then we can confirm our suspicions and get that objective data. So this is going to take the guesswork out of the equation and make sure that we're addressing the actual root cause and not just a symptom. So we want to match the lever, whether that's nutrition, training, stress, your gut. And once we know that root cause, we can match the most effective levers to pull. And so that's personalized strategies for your nutrition, for your training, for your stress management, and specific gut healing protocols as well. So it's not about precision, it's about making these broad strokes towards getting you better. And this methodology makes sure that every step we take is very intentional, evidence-based, and tailored specifically to your body's needs. And so that pulls me to Stephanie's story. And I think this just perfectly demonstrates the power of the systematic methodology. So Stephanie was a physical therapist in the Army. So she knew how to train and how to eat, or at least she thought she did. For years, she was doing everything, right. Training 5 to 6 times a week, eating clean, staying consistent. But despite all of that, she kept gaining weight more and more. And then at a certain point, she actually had issues with passing the actual physical fitness part of her Army fitness test in terms of measurements and things like that. And obviously that's devastating for someone whose career depends on physical fitness. So this is exactly why we guess. We don't guess, we test. Let me say that right. So when we ran her labs, we actually found early signs of subclinical hypothyroidism and autoimmune dysfunction that weren't showing up on her standard military medical screenings. And so by applying our methodology, really mapping her symptoms, testing to confirm the root causes, and then matching the right levers, Stephanie was able to see these really incredible results. So she was down 10 pounds in 8 weeks. Her thyroid issue was addressed. But the most incredible part was by week 12, she had actually hit her goal weight already, and she PR'd every single segment of her Army fitness test, after just months before having this horrible experience with it. She came back stronger, faster, leaner than ever. And so this is what really happens when you stop guessing and start working with precision. And her success, I just feel like, really demonstrates that even if you think you're doing everything right, there may just be these hidden imbalances that just need to be addressed, right? So let's now move on to step 4. So step 4 is going to be the 5 healing priorities that we must address. So we're going to spend a little bit of time on this slide. Let me just preface you guys with that. So the 5 things that we want to think about here, think of these as non-negotiables. These are the areas that we must address to really build a strong foundation and really improve your gut and your hormonal health. So let me walk you through each one and kind of give you some insights on each. So the first thing is digestion. This is the foundation. So it's where everything starts. If you can't break down and absorb your food properly, then nothing else is going to work optimally, right? So I'm going to give you guys a little gem, and we do this test with a lot of our clients as well. And so these are 2 simple tests you can do at home very easily to check your gut lining integrity and your stomach acid levels. So get ready to take some notes. Both of these tests should be done first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, but on 2 different days, okay? So we have the apple cider vinegar test. So you're going to take 2 teaspoons of really good quality apple cider vinegar. It needs to say with the mother, okay? If it doesn't say with the mother, it's going to burn and it's not going to do what we want it to do. So make sure it's good quality. 2 teaspoons in 200 mLs of water, and then just pay attention to your body's response. If you don't have symptoms, great. Then you can use apple cider vinegar as a dietary support. 1 to 2 tablespoons mixed with water before meals. But if you have symptoms like burning, nausea, or stomach pain, that is going to indicate that you might have some possible gastric mucosa or gastric lining damage. So you're going to need a stomach lining healing protocol with supplements like GI Revive, aloe, or colostrum, things of that nature. And by the way, on that note, please make sure that you're choosing really good, high quality supplements when you do choose supplements. That industry is so unregulated that it's really important that you're choosing the right things. I'm actually happy to, if you guys want it, my team might kill me for this, but I have my full script link where I have laid out a lot of my favorites in terms of brands and different things for supplements, and I'm happy to share that with you guys as well. If you are interested in that, drop supplements in the chat, by the way, and we'll make sure. I'm just gonna see what the demand is for it, and then we'll see if I'm gonna release that to y'all. Happy to do so though. Moving on. Back to the subject at hand. If you have an itchy or a hot sensation when you do this test, that indicates a histamine reaction. So you're going to want to support your stomach acid by following something like a low histamine diet and reducing your overall inflammation. The second test you're going to follow this up with is going to be the baking soda challenge. So you're going to mix a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda in 200 mLs of water, okay? You're going to set a timer. Don't guzzle this. You're going to drink it slowly over about 60 seconds and then wait for a large burp. And if you have a burp within 3 minutes, that's great. Your stomach acid production is likely adequate. But you're going to focus on just supporting your body's natural production, lifestyle factors wise, eating slowly, chewing thoroughly. If you don't have a burp within 3 minutes, this is going to suggest low stomach acid. So you're going to want to work on a parasympathetic state, which is like your rest and digest state. And this is through things like lifestyle factors, chewing your food thoroughly, dedicated eating zones, not doing distracted eating, doing some breathing before you start eating as well. But you can also consider supplementing with things like betaine, HCl, or gentian root. Honestly, this is probably one of the most common things I see, especially in women over 30. They have declining stomach acid. And this affects your protein digestion, your mineral absorption, and it's going to set the stage for things like SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and gut dysbiosis. Okay. All right. Sorry, we spent a lot of time on digestion, but it's really important. The second thing here is going to be this inflammation, right? I like to call it the silent saboteur. So inflammation is often the hidden driver behind things like stubborn weight gain, brain fog, hormonal chaos. So here's what a lot of people don't know. Chronic inflammation will disrupt your leptin signaling. So leptin is your satiety hormone. It tells you that you're full. So when leptin is blocked, your brain thinks you're starving even when you're not. Okay. So when you have gut inflammation, and this connection is huge, then you're going to have lipopolysaccharides or LPS. From the gram-negative bacteria, they're going to cross that compromised gut barrier, and they're going to trigger that systemic inflammation that then loops back and causes things like leptin issues. And so if you have a lot of times where you feel like you just can't ever get full, this may be one of the reasons. The third thing we're going to talk about is nervous system regulation, right? So nervous system is like your master controller. It controls your digestion, your hormone production, your immune function. So when you're stuck in sympathetic or that fight or flight state, your healing is going to stop. Nothing's going to happen. So one of the first things we address with our clients is you got to get out of fight or flight, and you got to get into this rest and digest and make your body feel safe. Your body will never lose weight if it never feels safe. If you think about it, like, why would it drop weight and lose its protection and its shield of like that fat and things if it doesn't feel safe, right? It's like, I might need that in the future. So a practical tip to kind of help with this when it comes to digestion is to do either box breathing or a 4-7-8 breathing technique before meals. So that's where you're going to inhale for 4 seconds. You're going to hold it for 7 seconds, and then you're going to exhale for 8 seconds. So this is really going to activate your parasympathetic nervous system and improve your digestion. Actually, why don't we all try it together? Okay. So we're going to do 4-7-8 breathing. So we're going to inhale for 4 seconds. Go ahead. Inhale. Hold it for 7 seconds. And then we're going to exhale for 8 seconds. Take your time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hopefully you feel a little more relaxed. So if you do that just before you have a meal, it can really help. And so it puts your body into that rest and digest state. So chronic stress also is going to elevate your cortisol, which we know, and that also directly impacts things like your gut microbiome and your intestinal permeability, leading to things like leaky gut. So number 4 out of 5, nutrition here, right? So nutrition isn't just about calories. It's about providing the right building blocks for healing. So most women are going to need 25 to 35 grams of fiber daily for optimal gut health, but the average American only gets about 15 grams. So we want to focus on diverse fiber sources, so not just one type. And here's a little bit of a gem. So we want to include 1 to 2 tablespoons of resistant starch daily, if possible. So this is going to feed your beneficial bacteria like Akkermansia muciniphila, which is a long, complicated name, but it does help strengthen your gut lining. There's also the cold potato trick, which I like. So you can cook potatoes. You can let them cool completely in the fridge overnight, and then you can eat them cold or reheat them gently. The cooling process converts the regular starch to resistant starch, which acts like fiber and then is going to feed your beneficial gut bacteria. You can also potentially do this with rice and pasta as well. It's only really been proven with the white potato, but just something to think about. And then some other great sources are going to be like green bananas, plantain flour, or you can add 1 to 2 tablespoons of raw potato starch to, or resistant starch to smoothies. It's tasteless, but it's very effective. And then up next, lastly, we have detox, right? So detox isn't just about juice cleanses. So it's about supporting your body's actual natural elimination pathway. pathways. So your liver processes hormones in 2 phases. So phase 1 is going to break them down, and phase 2 is going to package them up to eliminate them from your body. So many women, most women who have hormonal issues are having a sluggish phase 2, the part that packages them up for elimination. And that leads to your hormones recycling in your body, and a lot of women having estrogen dominance, which leads to things like the pear shape or stubborn fat in our abdominal and our hip areas. And so some simple support for this can be things like including cruciferous vegetables daily, things like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. They do contain compounds that support your healthy estrogen metabolism. And so these 5 priorities, they honestly just work all together synergistically. So we can't just focus on one and expect the lasting results. This is why our approach has to be comprehensive and really personalized to you. And that brings us to Donica's story, which honestly just beautifully illustrates the resilience and the progress that's possible even when you face challenges. So Donica was making progress here despite a back injury, doing things like just chair workouts. Like that was literally all she could do. Sometimes she couldn't even stretch properly with her back. And so even when life throws you curveballs, this is about working with your body and adapting. And that's really the beauty of a customized program. So her journey reminds us that progress is not always linear, but with the right support and understanding of your body, you can continue to move forward. So we'll move on to step 5 here. So why do most approaches fail? So a lot of you have probably tried the DIY route, the endless supplement stacks, the restrictive elimination diets, or you spend a lot of hours Googling your symptoms. Nothing wrong with that. But it will put you down a rabbit hole. And all these efforts, they do come from a good place. They often fall short. And the reason why is that we're addressing the symptoms without understanding the hierarchy of healing, which was one of our quiz questions. So you might be taking a probiotic for bloating, but if the root cause is low stomach acid or nervous system dysregulation, then that probiotic's not going to work. It's not going to be absorbed. Like we have a whole host of issues there. So we have to address the foundational issues first. And then if we have restrictive diets as long-term solutions, that's never a good idea. So diets like AIP or autoimmune protocol can be helpful short-term, but staying on them for too long can actually decrease our gut diversity, which is counterproductive for our long-term health. So we actually don't recommend that we keep our clients on AIP for more than 4-ish weeks. And then the last thing is going to be the one-size-fits-all probiotics. So probiotics are not a magic bullet. They do need to be personalized, and their effects are often transient or fleeting. So what often works for one person might not work for another, and just blindly taking them can sometimes actually worsen your symptoms. So the strain specificity is really important here as well. Probiotics have to be personalized. And the key takeaway here is that if you don't have a personalized root cause approach that really respects your body's natural healing hierarchy, then you'll likely just continue to spin your wheels. Okay. Jerica's story is a fantastic example, I feel like, of addressing a common and frustrating symptom, which is bloating, right? So she was tired of the discomfort and the unpredictability. So by implementing this really targeted approach, she experienced really rapid relief, as you can see here. Her bloating was gone in 4 weeks. Her routine and her confidence really got locked in. And this is really just what it highlights. When you get to the root of the issue, not only do your physical symptoms improve, but there's a profound impact on things like your daily routine and your overall confidence. So it's really just about feeling good in your skin again at the end of the day. And so this brings us to step 6. We're almost through here, guys. So we have to restore the microbiome diversity. This is a critical, often overlooked piece of the puzzle for long-term health and resilience. So your gut is a complex ecosystem. It's basically like a bustling city of trillions of microorganisms. So the more diverse and balanced this ecosystem is, the more resilient your gut and your overall health will be as well. So what most people don't understand is that it's not just about having good bacteria. There's actually 5 critical dimensions. So there's density, diversity, function, ecology, and dynamics. And so I wish I could call it like the 5 Ds, because that would make it really catchy, but it's really 3 Ds, an E, and an F. At least it goes straight through the alphabet. So the 3 Ds are going to be density. So you need enough of the beneficial bacteria. So think of it like having enough workers in your city. And then diversity, you need variety. A healthy gut actually has about 300 to 500 different species. Most Americans actually have less than 150. So we're like half of that or less. And then the last D is dynamics. Your microbiome should be stable but adaptable and able to bounce back from things like stress or antibiotics. And then ecology is going to be our E here. So you need the right bacteria in the right places. So you don't want your small intestine bacteria, for instance, to be in your colon. And then function. Your bacteria need to be doing their jobs, which is to produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate and metabolizing hormones and supporting your immunity. So we need to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. And then just a couple things here. If you want a little bit of kind of practical microbiome support, things that you can start doing today, you can try eating 30 different plant foods per week. I know that sounds like a lot. It's not as hard as it sounds because you've got herbs, you've got spices, you've got nuts, seeds, fruits, vegetables. All of these things count. Okay, so it's not as hard as you think. And then you can also focus on prebiotic diversity. So different fibers will feed different bacteria. So you can include things like inulin, Jerusalem artichokes and garlic have these, pectin, which is in apples, and beta-glucan, which is in oats. So just like getting some diversity. And a little bit of a gem we talked about, which was that Akkermansia. So that's a keystone species that strengthens your gut lining. And you can support that with foods that are rich in polyphenols. So that's things like pomegranates, green tea, cranberries as well. And then I know we talked about the estrobolome earlier as well, which is going to affect, that's that collection of bacteria that basically helps you metabolize estrogen. And if we don't do that, it's not working properly, we get estrogen dominance, right? So it's not about taking random probiotics. It's about creating an environment where beneficial bacteria can really thrive long-term. And that is true gut revival. Okay, so gut health rocks is what I'm going to say. It's not just a buzzword. I know we hear about it a lot, but it is truly the foundation of your well-being. And hopefully you can see and understand that at this point. I do believe that if you've been on the call up to this point, you do possess the drive and the commitment it takes to really excel in your health journey. And you're here because you're ready for answers and real change. And the exciting part is that this is something that you can get started with right now. The insights you've gained today are really powerful, and the path to healing is really within reach if we just take action. But please remember, before we move into the next section, I want to emphasize this crucial point that nothing I've shared here today is mere theory or fluff off of TikTok that might work, okay? This is exactly what I've done in my own practice and what has consistently helped countless women really reclaim their health and their vitality. So it doesn't matter if you feel like a complete beginner or if you're currently overwhelmed by all the health information out there. The key is really to take baby steps and to take action, and to take action right now. So every big transformation starts with that single step. And so you have the power to really begin your gut revival journey today. So let's talk about the benefits of gut revival and just a quick recap. You can finally understand why your symptoms are happening. There's no more guessing. There's no more feeling dismissed. You can start to feel empowered with real answers about your body and what it needs. And you can stop spinning your wheels with these one-size-fits-all programs that just don't address your unique physiology. And the most important thing here is that you can discover a clear next step towards healing, and that's lasting healing. And ultimately, this is all about really helping you to move and trying to inspire people here. So it's about transforming your health so you can live a really vibrant, fulfilling life and just be the best version of yourself. So if there's one thing to take away here, I would say that it's this. I have literally cracked the code at this point to understanding your body's hidden signals. This isn't just a system. It's a profound shift in how we approach health. It has really, truly fundamentally changed my own world, and I've seen it transform the lives of my clients. So you have the potential to transform yourself and to gain a renewed sense of control and to feel confident and vibrant in your own health journey. So the answers are within you. I'm here to just help you unlock them. Okay. So what I'm going to do is talk about the final step in this, which is get support. I will introduce you to the Functional Fat Loss RX and show you how we simplify functional healing with a personalized path, expert guidance, and a community that really truly gets it. Okay. So now that you understand the power of gut revival, I want to introduce to you how we really take these principles and apply them in a structured, supportive way through my signature program, which is the Functional Fat Loss RX. The program is really designed to simplify functional healing, give you that personalized pathway, the expert guidance, and the support of the community that truly understands what you're going through. So it's all about moving from confusion to clarity and from struggle to sustainable success. We want to get to the other side at the end of the day. So as we move into discussing this, how you can take the next step, I've observed from doing these classes before in the past, that there's typically two types of attendees in webinars like this. And so first, we have the information gatherers. These are wonderful individuals who love to learn, but they often delay decisions, and we stay in a cycle of trial and error. And I say we because I used to be one of these people, and I'm happy to admit it. And we accumulate a lot of knowledge without a lot of consistent action. And so you may feel like you're stuck in analysis paralysis at a certain point. And then we have the action takers. They're the ones who make decisions, who understand the value of getting support, and they move faster because they're getting consistent feedback and guidance. So I want you to just truly ask yourself honestly in this moment, which one are you? And it's fine to be either one, but we want to make sure that we understand where we're truly at, reflecting internally on ourselves. And are you ready to move from gathering information to taking decisive action to improve these things, right? And so there's two paths from here, really. From this point forward, you can, figure it out alone. This path I found usually leads to continued confusion. You don't really know where to start, plateaus that can last weeks, months, years, money and time lost on plans that just really don't fit your unique physiology. And then we have path two, where we work together one-on-one. And this is where you're going to get those targeted labs. You're going to get a tailored plan specifically for you, and you're going to receive weekly adjustments for that fast feedback. We're going to make sure that you're always moving forward, and you have clear milestones over a 16-week process that are guided by experts who really understand your journey. So next, I'll show you the one-on-one program and exactly how it works. And don't forget, we still have those exciting giveaways coming up, so stay tuned. And I'm giving away even more than what I mentioned, just the one. We have more coming, so stay here. Remember, you got to be present to win those. So diving into a functional fat loss RX, I'll go through this pretty quickly. So this is my signature physician-led program. It is designed specifically for high-achieving women, just like yourself. Over 16 weeks, we're going to work together to help you rebalance your hormones, heal your gut, your hormones. I said hormones already. I say that a lot. And achieve fat loss in a way that is truly sustainable and lasts. So the core philosophy is personalized, not protocols. We don't believe in one size fits all around here. Okay. Your body is unique and your plan has to be too. And critically, we're going to test. We're not going to guess, and we're going to coach. We're not going to blame. We use objective data to really guide our strategy, and we're going to empower you every step of the way. And that is without judgment. Okay. And so who do we help? To be clear, this is for high-achieving women, usually around the age of 30 to 50. We work with a lot of moms who are doing everything right, but just still feel stuck. So women whose labs have been called normal while their symptoms persist, something's off, and you're ready for some real answers. And those who really want personalization and expert oversight rather than just some generic advice and another quick fix. So if this sounds like you, then this program is really designed to be your ultimate solution here. And so what is included in this, right? So what you're going to get are functional consultations and advanced labs. Like I said, over 100 plus labs we do with clear clinical interpretation. We don't just run labs, we interpret them for you. We're connecting the dots between your data and your symptoms. We're giving you personalized nutrition that really fits your routine. So we're not doing super restrictive diets. We're doing a plan that's really tailored to your body and your lifestyle. And then we're doing hormone aligned training programs, whether that's at your home, at the gym, hybrid, whatever you like. Exercise that's just designed to support your hormones and not deplete them. And then we're doing one-on-one coaching and momentum calls with high-touch weekly feedback. So this is just really where the magic happens, I feel, because you're getting that consistent support and the adjustments that you need to keep moving forward. We're going to give you root cause education so you understand why we're doing what we're doing, and that's going to empower you for life, really. And then you're getting access to our private community, the Clarity Circle, which is also open for business as well, as I mentioned earlier. So early bird pricing open for a limited time there if you guys want to join. And this is a supportive space where you can connect with other women on a similar journey. This is really, honestly, it's just a holistic approach that's designed to address every aspect of your health. What we're going to dive into really quickly are the 4 pillars of functional fat loss RX. It's built on these 4 pillars that ensure a comprehensive yet sustainable approach to your health. And they're designed to really address the common pitfalls and provide a structured pathway to lasting results. So we'll dive into each one and the mistakes that it helps us avoid. So we start off with pillar number 1, which is our comprehensive health blueprint. And this is really where we're laying the foundation. So we're ensuring that we understand your unique physiology from the ground up. It involves deep diving into your health history, your symptom mapping, targeted functional lab testing, and creating that truly personalized roadmap for your healing journey. And this takes us to the first mistake that I see women making a lot. And so it's women who are stuck guessing about their hormones. So many women are trying to balance their hormones based on symptoms alone or this generic advice that's out there on social media or wherever you might find it. But without objective data, you're essentially just flying blind and often making things a lot worse. So in our program, testing is how we stop making things worse. We use targeted functional lab tests to get a really precise picture of your hormone balance, your gut health, and other key biomarkers. And this allows us to create a plan that's really truly tailored to your body and eliminate the guesswork and accelerate your results quite truly. And so Dina's success story really illustrates the power of precise data-driven interventions. So Dina was looking to make significant body composition changes. When we addressed her unique physiology, she was able to achieve these remarkable results of getting down 4 inches off her waist in just 4 weeks. So this is not just about weight, though. It's about reducing inflammation, improving your hormonal balance, and optimizing body composition. So all these things are very interconnected with gut health. And then we move into pillar number 2. We're going to move into our hormone optimization protocol. Once we have your blueprint, we implement strategies specifically designed to bring your hormones into optimal balance. So this involves personalized nutrition, hormone-aligned training, and targeted support to make sure your endocrine system is really functioning at its highest and best. And this takes me to Rachel. Her transformation is really inspiring, I think, especially because she's a newly postpartum mom. She's a nurse working 12-hour shifts as well. Actually, I believe she's only 8 or 10 weeks postpartum when she came to me, and she was able to drop 25 pounds in just 16 weeks. And what makes her story so powerful is that she achieved this while navigating those unique hormonal challenges of postpartum, which if you've ever been through that, you know all about. And that's when your body is really still recovering and your hormones are in flux. And this kind of sustainable weight loss is a direct result of addressing the underlying hormonal and metabolic imbalances that really prevent women from achieving their goals, especially during major life transitions like postpartum. So Rachel's success is really a testament to what's possible when you have a personalized plan that works with your body's current state and not against it. And that brings us to our next mistake that I see a lot of women make, which is generic protocols, right? So that we don't need to rely on these run-of-the-mill, one-size-fits-all protocols. You've seen the one-size-fits-all diets. You've seen the cookie-cutter workout plans, the generalized supplement recommendations. They might work for some, but they rarely work for everyone. And especially when we're dealing with complex gut and hormonal issues. So our philosophy is really that your plan must fit your physiology and your life. We don't just give you a protocol. We're going to co-create a sustainable lifestyle that integrates seamlessly with things like your unique body, your schedule, your preferences. This is true personalization here, okay? And then that pulls us into step 3 of the process, which is our accelerated transformation period. So pillar number 3, this is really where we dial in the interventions to create significant momentum and really visible results. It is a phase of focused action where we're going to implement the personalized strategies from your blueprint and your protocol and closely monitor your progress to make sure that we get rapid yet sustainable transformation. And this really just pulls me to the next mistake I see a lot of women making. And so if you don't have that expert feedback, it's going to lead to a lot of frustration. And so you start a new plan, you see some initial progress, and then you plateau. And this is incredibly common. And it's where most people give up because they think it's just a lack of willpower. I'm not doing enough. I'm not working hard enough. But the truth is plateaus will require weekly adjustments, not just more willpower. Your body's needs shift as things change. Your environment changes. Your plan needs to evolve with you. And without expert eyes on your data and your symptoms, it's impossible to know what micro adjustments are actually needed. So our program is going to provide that high touch weekly feedback and make sure that you just never get stuck in a plateau for long. So we make the necessary tweaks to make sure you keep moving forward. And that takes me to Judy's story. And I love sharing her story because it shows that transformation is really possible at any stage of life, regardless of your daily demands. So Judy was a stay-at-home grandma and newly diagnosed diabetic as well. And she was able to drop 30 pounds in just 12 weeks. And again, this isn't just about the number on the scale. It's about reclaiming your energy, your vitality, and the ability to fully engage with life, even with the busy schedule of a grandma of twin boys. And so when I spoke with Judy just yesterday, she was so excited to share with me that she's actually now down to up to an amazing 50 pounds lost at this point. So her transformation really continues to inspire me every day. And her success is really just a powerful reminder that if we have the right guidance, real results are achievable at any stage of life. By the way, she also reversed her insulin resistance and she's no longer a diabetic. Yes. And so that moves us into longevity and maintenance roadmap. This is the final pillar, but honestly, I think the most crucial. It ensures that your results are going to last a lifetime. So it's not just about achieving your goals. What's the point of going through all this if we can't sustain them long term? And so we're going to equip you with the knowledge and the strategies to maintain your gut and your hormonal health and prevent relapses. And we want to make sure you're continuing to thrive long after the program ends. And so that brings us to my final mistake that I see A lot of women don't have a maintenance plan. A lot of us can get to where we want to be sometimes, and we get stuck in the cycle of frustration because we have no maintenance plan. We don't know what to do once we get there. What happens next? And many programs I find focus solely on the transformation phase, but what happens after that? Without a clear roadmap for long-term sustainability, you're going to end up in that cycle of yo-yo dieting and recurrent issues. So in our program, we start building in a robust maintenance plan from day one. We're going to teach you how to listen to your body, make informed choices, and adapt your strategies so that your results are not just temporary, but they truly last a lifetime. So this is not about just creating lasting health, or no, it is about creating lasting health. It's not just a quick fix, okay? So, and I think a statistic that really well highlights that is that 94% of people who lose weight will gain it all back plus more within 1 to 5 years of doing so. It's darn near 100%. And that's why I think that honestly, the final phase that we do is the most important of them all. And so that another story to just kind of highlight this is Jessica. So I feel like her story is particularly inspiring because she achieved significant results while navigating a very demanding profession as a teacher. And obviously her days are undoubtedly stressful and busy. And despite her stressful job, she lost 20 pounds in 16 weeks. And this demonstrates that when you have a personalized approach, it can be integrated into even the busiest of lives and prove that sustainable health is achievable without adding more stress to your plate, okay? And so moving on, how does all this work? Okay, so you've seen the pillars, you've heard the success stories. Now let's talk about the practical and what are the next steps. So it's a simple 3-step process. You can scan this QR code on the screen. My team will be dropping the link in the chat as well, if needed. And the strategy call is 60 minutes. It is your opportunity to dive deeper with us. We're going to review your top symptoms, discuss your current goals, and really just explore how our program can specifically help you. It's a no pressure conversation just to see if we are a good fit. Then you're going to head into onboarding in the first 30 days. And once you're in, we're going to hit the ground running. We do your targeted labs, we establish a baseline plan, and we focus on those early wins so we can build that momentum and that confidence. And then we have a cadence and support. This is ongoing support that ensures your success. You'll receive weekly feedback. We'll do micro tweaks to your plan based upon your progress and regular milestone reviews to make sure we keep you on track. So this structured approach just ensures that you're supported really every step of the way. And so why does our guidance beat DIY? You might be thinking, can't I just do this all myself? And while I commend your initiative, here's why expert guidance really beats out the DIY approach, especially when you're dealing with complex gut and hormonal health. Your signals are going to shift every single week. Your body is not static. So small changes in your gut hormone signals can really alter things like your energy, your hunger, your sleep, and your mood on a weekly basis. And so without someone really expertly tracking these shifts, it's really easy to get off track. Implementation is the gap. So knowing what to do is one thing, and then consistently implementing it and adapting is a whole nother thing. And so we close this gap with precise testing, the personalized coaching, and the fast feedback. So we're constantly optimizing your plan based upon how your body is responding. And this level of personalized support is really what makes the difference between the temporary fixes and the lasting transformation. And so Carly's story is another powerful example of the physical transformations that are possible. She got down 7 inches off her waist in just 8 weeks. And this speaks to the effectiveness of a targeted approach that really addresses the root causes of stubborn fat and inflammation. And it leads to measurable changes in your body composition. So the power of consistent action guided by expert insights is really highlighted here. You know, the results, honestly, they speak for themselves. I could talk all day about the incredible transformations I've witnessed, but sometimes hearing it directly from the women themselves is the most impactful. So I'll share a few powerful stories. You know, we have Brittany, who was finally able to get pregnant after struggling on her own and was starting to consider fertility treatments. We have Kishana, a nurse working night shifts, struggling to prioritize herself and her stress load. We uncovered a major culprit for her with Hashimoto's. And I just heard today from her coach, Lindsay, that she is already down 20 pounds since we started working together less than 10 weeks ago. So that is an amazing thing. We have Catherine, who's a mom to a young son who finally made herself a priority, and she also just hit 20 pounds down. She was able to fit back into her wedding gown from COVID, when she wasn't ever able to, unfortunately, utilize it in just 12 weeks, despite some major personal life events she had going on. And then lastly, we have Michelle. She had tried everything. She'd failed so many times. She honestly just didn't believe that change was possible anymore. She struggled with emotional eating and found herself over 300 pounds with a new diabetes diagnosis as well. By the time she started working with us, she was very skeptical and very exhausted. You can only imagine. But our mindset first approach really made her feel seen and safe. And we started slowly with things like using hand weights while sitting on the couch. And in just 12 weeks, Michelle, she dropped out of the 300s, a number she hadn't seen in years. And then she was able to zip up a raincoat she hadn't been able to wear in over 2 years. But more than the scale, it's the way that she feels that's different. She has hope again, and she trusts herself again. And that's an amazing feeling that really, it's priceless, quite honestly. And speaking of priceless, let's talk about the cost of waiting. So let's talk about something important. If we wait, we're looking at another 6 months of guessing, of continuing to struggle alone. That means more fatigue, more stubborn weight gain, lower mood. These symptoms, they don't just disappear. They often compound over time. There are a lot of hidden costs as well in terms of money you're spending on supplements, GLP-1s, medications, all of these different things, these strategies, foods, and medical bills piling up from chasing the symptoms. And not to mention the emotional toll and the constant frustration. And each week without a clear plan is just another week, I feel, of missed feedback and missed opportunities for healing. It's going to slow your progress on plans that you can't sustain. Your health is honestly your most valuable asset we have in this life. So what is the cost of not investing in it now? And that's something that I want to make sure we all think about. Whatever that looks like for you to invest in your health, we have to take action, whatever that's going to be. So to reward the action takers, I think this is what I wanted to mention. So we have a life scholarship for those of you who are truly action takers, who are ready to commit to your health. We have a very special time-sensitive opportunity. It is a life scholarship. Before I share the details, I want you to know why I'm doing this. I've invested a tremendous amount of time into my training because I want it to be genuinely helpful for others. At this point, I actually looked yesterday and I've done over 340 hours of calls and consults with clients for these exact issues we've talked about today. I've invested the time, the money, and the effort because I know how important and life-changing this work can be. And you've done the same by showing up today and investing in yourselves. That shows me that you're truly ready to take action and feel differently if you're still with me here at this point. So I want to continue to give back and show how much I believe in you by giving away not just 1, but 12 months of free coaching to 12 women who book a strategy call today with myself or my team. This is a genuine value. I'm not inflating a list price. I'm not changing anything. It's our way of rewarding those who are decisive and ready to transform, just like you've shown by being here today. And so the deadline for this incredible offer is going to be 3:30 p.m. Well, actually, I took a little bit longer than anticipated here today. So I'll give you guys a little bit more time. But I just want you to make sure that you have access to that. So you can book your call as long as you book it within the next 30 minutes is what we're going to say. Then you will qualify for this live scholarship. But just know that once the spots are gone, they're gone. So we only got a limited amount. But before we get into that, what happens on a strategy call? By the way, you can scan the QR code as well. Like I mentioned, it's 60 minutes. We're going to review your top symptoms and your current goals. We're going to deep dive into your symptoms and your recommended next steps. If it's not a match, that's totally fine. You'll still gain a lot of clarity and walk away with some very actionable insights. Plus, you'll still have access to today's bonuses just for showing up. So this call is about empowering you with information regardless of your decision. So I just want you to know that. So make sure that you are booking your free strategy call now. We'll keep this link visible during the Q&A. Once you have had a chance to book, make sure you type booked in the chat once you secured your spot so that you can claim that scholarship. The link to book should be in the chat for you guys. You can also scan the QR code. If you need a direct link, just reach out to someone. My team will make sure that we help you out with that as well. So spots are limited. Make sure you drop booked in there, and it is time sensitive, so don't delay. Before we head into the Q&A, as you consider booking your call, just some common worries that I know might be coming up. Let's just address them head on. So I need more time, right? We understand that you're busy. Literally all the women that we work with are busy. That is why we build our program around your life with these small weekly steps that are sustainable and they don't overwhelm your schedule. You may also be saying, I've tried a lot of different things before. Many of our clients have. Literally, most women who come to me, they've tried so many other things that they're just so skeptical and so burnt out. And that's why we don't guess. We test first, and then we adjust weekly based on your unique progress, making sure that you don't stall like before. You may also be asking, will this actually work for me? Our plans are personalized. They are not protocols. You will know your exact next step on the call, and it will be tailored specifically to your body and your goals. This is not a generic solution. It is your solution. So I want to be clear about that. These worries are valid, but we do have a proven system really to overcome them, okay? So that brings us to our live Q&A. So I would love, as you guys are booking, make sure you drop booked in the chat. Again, we've only got 12 spots for that live scholarship, and we still have the full giveaway coming up of the full 16 weeks of coaching. That has still not happened yet. So make sure that you hang around. If you have any questions, go ahead and start dropping those things in the chat now, and I will answer as many as I can to try to help everyone out. And the next thing we're going to do is announce that live giveaway winner. So I'm super excited to talk to you all about whatever questions you guys have. All right, awesome. We've got someone booked. Yes. Yeah, Judy. I'm now just catching up on like everybody in the chat, y'all, because I was so into the presentation. So I'm waiting for y'all to drop your questions. Okay, awesome. So Q&A, should the apple cider vinegar mix be drunk before each meal or at least once a day, like the morning and or night? So I would recommend doing it before each meal, and you can work your way up to that. So you can start with once a day, work your way up to twice a day, usually before your heaviest meal, starting with like lunch and dinner, and then work up to 3 times a day, especially if you're showing that you have signs of low stomach acid. Does your blood type play a part for gut health as well? I feel like this is so overhyped. There is no such thing necessarily as like eating. Okay, there's some relevance to it, but like it's so not well validated and well studied in terms of like eating for your blood type, for those who are thinking that. Yes, your blood type does play a role to some degree, but definitely not as much when it comes to things like your gut health. So I wouldn't worry too much about that in regards to that. Apple cider vinegar once a day is best before a meal. Yes, definitely before meals. Is IBS just a diagnosis, but is manageable through diet? Honestly, I found that IBS is pretty much a catch-all diagnosis. Like when we don't know what else is going on, we're just going to slap IBS on it and call it a day. Your colonoscopy looks good. Your endoscopy looks good. But IBS is very manageable for a lot of people when you get to the root of what's causing the IBS to begin with. The problem is they don't know what's causing it, so that they're just going to kind of give this blanket statement diagnosis and treat it all the same way. And so, yes, I have found that IBS is very diagnosable, treatable, for some people even curable. Yes, diet can play a significant role in managing IBS. I was diagnosed with IBS, but I was super stressed out at the time. And now I don't really have symptoms besides constipation, which occurs here and there. Yeah, so that really highlights and underscores how much like stress in our nervous system plays a role in like our gut health. And so I think that can be really clear there. And it would be really good to figure out and kind of journal your symptoms with the constipation and see if you can figure out where those triggers are coming from, because there's probably a common thread. Can a 25-year-old with autoimmune disorder join? Absolutely. We'd love to have you. We have undiagnosed. We have diagnosed and uncovered a lot of early autoimmune processes for women in our program. Doesn't mean that they actually have an autoimmune disease yet or tissue destruction. But yeah, we'd love to help you try to figure out what's causing that. A lot of autoimmune disease is pretty much just coming from inflammation somewhere in the body. Yes, Beth answered that. Being born premature can cause you to have gut issues due to not being fully developed at birth. Yes, actually. So that's why we go back to things like your birth history, even on our questionnaires for our program. And so it does play a significant role, even in utero, what you experience from your mom and the things that are passed down to you through that placenta barrier and those things as well. So I think it's really important to highlight that too. And I think that's great. That's a wonderful question. And it looks like Beth kind of answered that too. So does having poor gut health affect cavities? Absolutely. So your gut microbiome is bacteria, right? So a lot of times for some people, the microbiome of your mouth, your oral microbiome is playing a big role in what's causing your gut microbiome issues. So we talk a lot about oral tolerance. Some people don't make enough saliva in their mouth to then have something called secretory IgA, which then coats the food and makes it so that your body doesn't recognize it as a foreign substance and then attack it. And that's how people end up with food sensitivities a lot of times. And they're like, why do I keep developing all of these new food sensitivities? And that can potentially be an issue. And it's the fact that we need to address some issues with your oral tolerance. All right, we got a couple people booked. I love that. Hopefully you guys have started getting booked I know we had some spots even available today, so I'm super excited for y'all to get in there and to get that scholarship. Oh yeah, Lindsay answered that as well. As a physician, are you also managing medication? So no, because I don't have a license in every single state. I would say, Chelsea, so yes, I'm going to look at your medications in concert with everything else, but before we ever, it's always your decision and your choice if you ever want to come off of a medication or change your medications. And that's a decision that should be made in conjunction with your primary care doctor or your specialist as well. So I think that is important to understand. Can fibroid issues mask their more serious issues, if at all? I'm thinking about the best way to answer this. So fibroid issues potentially with a heavy bleeding, but it's like, what are causing the fibroid issues to begin with? And it's usually some form of estrogen dominance for some reason. And so we need to figure out where that's coming from, which a lot of times it can be related back to the liver and then the gut and those things we were talking about earlier. Price of the program. So in testing, is it included in this price? So testing we do include in the cost of our program. And so we want to make sure that there's no hidden costs and there's no additional things needed for you. So want to make sure that you guys understand that. The investment in our program, we do have a few different options. Our 16-week program is our most signature program. It's the most popular option. It gives people everything that they need. But we do like to hop on a call with you so that we can fully understand what you need and what you're actually looking for and get you the program that makes the most sense for you, as well as your lifestyle and your budget. And so we have a lot of different options there. What if you're already on HRT? That's fine. We do have a couple of women who are on HRT. Again, that's totally your choice. We can still essentially interpret your symptoms and your labs in lieu of that. And so we can also, for some people, figure out if your HRT is being dosed appropriately or if we are supplementing with the right thing. Because things like potentially for some people, we need to do hormone zoomers or Dutch tests, and those give us a much more accurate picture of your hormones and what's actually going on and where we need to target and fix things. I feel like my issues are hormonal due to menopause. Will this program help me with those issues? Absolutely. We have plenty of women who are perimenopausal and menopausal in the program who came from a very similar space. And so, yes, that's something that we love to help a lot of women with, because it's a very tricky transitional time frame for so many women. And we want to make sure that you're best optimizing your body during that time frame, because a lot of bad things can start to happen in terms of your estrogen dropping. That can start to affect, again, things like your gut microbiome, as well as your bone density, your muscle density, all of these things that are really important and we don't want to decline. And we want to make sure we're supporting your body appropriately during those times. All right. That is the end of what I see in my Q&A. I'm going to go back to the chat. Oh, a lot of people wanted the supplements guide. Okay, I'm going to have to make sure we get that to y'all. All right, awesome. I'm just making sure I got all the questions here that are in the chat before we head to the giveaway. You never knew that about probiotics, I know, right? Everyone's just like, get on a probiotic. I was calling it puffiness. I was very puffy all over. Yeah, bloating is the worst. Analysis paralysis, interesting term. I'm in the middle between analysis and action. It's time to take action. Information gatherer. That's fine. Information is great, but what is information without action and really implementing it, right? Hate plateauing. Yeah, I know, it's the worst. And a lot of times you just don't know how to get out of it. Yeah, Judy, we can do this if we have the knowledge and the plan. Absolutely. That happened to me when I got down 50 pounds, gained it back plus more. Yeah. Unfortunately, that is the most common thing that we see, but we have a very proven way to overcome a lot of these things. Let's see. All right. 50% of our 12 slots have been filled already. We're going to keep this link up for the next, now, let's see, 18 more minutes, y'all. It just went to 17. So make sure we keep the questions coming. We want to make sure you're seen and heard. Also, because we've had this Richard issue, if you are still here, can you drop your name in the chat? Because to do this giveaway, I need to know what your real names are, and you can't all be Richard. So if you could go ahead, if you're still here, and drop your names in the chat, because we're about to do that giveaway, and I am literally just going to randomly choose. All right, we've got Anna, you got Olivia, and literally I'm just going to write them down. We're going to do this real old school style, y'all. Okay, because tech was not on our side today. Anna, Olivia, Chelsea, Nadia, Judy, Charlize, Anna O. Okay, someone's having trouble booking the strategy call. If someone can reach out to them. We've got Shaniqua, Michelle, Gita, Jamie, Charlotte, Leisha, Lindsay. Okay, do me a favor. Lindsay and Olivia, I'm going to assume those are my two coaches, right? I'm going to mark your names off. All right. Jen, I didn't get Jen. Oh, I see another Q&A that came through. Okay, and then some people dropped. Do you have payment options for those in month-to-month financial situation? Absolutely. So our goal is to make this as affordable as humanly possible for as many women as possible. So we have a ton of different options to help try to make this really cost affordable for women. So we have a lot of different options, and you're willing to have a really open conversation with us about your finances, and we can help you overcome that. We've got Charlotte. I think she already dropped that here. Then we've got D or Audrey. I'm going to write that one down. Okay. Perfect. All right. Do we have anybody else? Tarina? Okay. All right. Yes, that's true. All right. We're going to mark up Lindsay and Olivia here. All right. Anybody else? Last call. Last call. We're about to do this giveaway. Who's ready? Drop a 1 in the chat if you're ready to hear who's going to be the winner. This is a full 16 weeks of coaching with me in the Functional Fat Loss RX program. So all of the coaching is going to be covered for you. I'm not seeing any ones, so I can't go to the giveaway yet. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Richard Minion symbol. That is so great. It does not have any options for time. All right. We'll definitely help you make sure that we get you around that. Got distracted. What was the question? Well, if you're ready for the giveaway, that was the question. Oh, okay. April. I don't think I had April down. Let me make sure I drop that name in here too. Okay. Awesome. All right. It's time. Drum roll. All right. I'm just going to close my eyes. I'm going to choose off of the sheet here. We have Shaniqua. Shaniqua, you are the winner of 16 weeks of free coaching with me. So make sure that you, if you can message me directly, or if you don't mind dropping in the chat, we need your email and your full name. So that way we can make sure that you get your everything set up for you. So excited for you to get started on this journey. We're going to make a huge difference. And you guys, don't forget, we're going to leave up the QR code here. Grab the link for the next now 14 more minutes before all those spots are gone to get that partial scholarship to the program. So we are super excited to make sure that you guys get everything you need. And congratulations again to Shaniqua. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera, and I'm going to move over. If you guys have any questions, I'll still be hanging out in the chat for the next 13 minutes or so until we turn everything off. So super excited to, just get going with all this. And so if you know anyone else who could benefit, make sure you send them our way. Replay. Oh, I forgot. Before I forget, you guys made it to the end. I almost forgot. I'm supposed to do this. So if you guys have booked a call, don't forget to utilize your pre-call prep sheet. So I just dropped that in the chat for you guys. And then if you've been here till the end, you get access to the Masterclass freebies. Yes. So these will also be getting emailed to y'all too, but I wanted to give you guys early access. You made it to the end. So take advantage of those freebies and make sure that you're grabbing those as well. And then if you want to check back out the replay, those are going to be sent to you guys. So super excited for you guys to get all of this knowledge. The second time going through, you'll probably pick up even more things. And so, yeah, if you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat while we are waiting. And those spots are almost gone. I think we've got 2 left. So if you want to get on, make sure that you get on. It's probably going to be heading away very soon. And we haven't announced this yet, so you guys are going to be the first to hear. But also, if you're interested in the Clarity Circle membership, that's open. But what I was going to say is we had so many people sign up, and a lot of people just couldn't make it to this time, for work or whatever reasons. So we are going to be doing an encore of the presentation tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you know anyone who could benefit, if you want to turn back up, we will be going through all of this again. If you have any questions that come up, we'd love to see you there. All right, y'all, have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, and we will be in contact with you, Shaniqua, and everyone else who booked a call so far. Link will stay up on the screen, and we'll talk soon.